Hello, I'm Tim Millar, Vice President of ICMCI, and welcome to the Greenhouse IMC report for the 2013 Johannesburg Congress meeting. The Greenhouse IMC is an organisation that is being set up in order to service the needs of individual management consultants who don't have a place of belonging or community within the ICMCI structure. The Greenhouse IMC is a virtual IMC, and it's there for all management consultants around the world who are not already a member of an existing IMC that's a member of ICMCI, who would like to become a CMC and who would like to be able to have continuous professional development, belong to the profession and help build the community of CMCs around the globe. There are a lot of questions and things that the task force had to investigate in the last 12 months in order to build the Greenhouse IMC. Firstly, one of the most obvious questions to many institutes will be, why did we choose CMC Canada? Well, CMC Canada is an organisation that is used to providing secretariat style of services to institutes. Its organisation services 10 territories and 3 provinces, and those contracts exist on a state-by-state and province-by-province basis. So CMC Canada is very used to being a third-party provider of resources, services, facilitation and training of CMCs. So they seem to be a very logical party from the get-go. However, they were also a party in this whole discussion at the conceptual level, and at the conceptual level they brought many great ideas to the table. And to pilot the program with CMC Canada and the discussions we've had so far, I'm sure is a great privilege for both organisations. Certainly it's been a privilege for me, having undergone some of the discussions and negotiations that we had in recent times in Toronto around about March to get this thing moving. The Greenhouse IMC, we had to look at, does it need to be a separate legal entity? And there were many discussions on this, many investigations. This was in fact one of the primary concerns for us, was to make sure we got this structure right, because we didn't want to create a competitor to ourselves. We didn't want to create a competitor to our IMCs. We wanted to make sure that we had a structure that could be well controlled by ICMCI, but not one that got lost in ICMCI and lost its direction and lost its future. So yes, we've created a wholly owned separate legal entity that is totally owned by ICMCI, which means totally owned by all the trustees, which allows us to have great control over the organisation, but also to ensure that any surpluses derived from that activity are distributed back to ICMCI and obviously help subsidise ICMCI's operations. Will the global IMC have its own membership and its own president and the like? Well, people will be individual members of this organisation, but this organisation will be purely a service-based organisation. It won't be a member-based organisation. So there will be no opportunity for them to elect presidents. There will be no opportunity for them to elect let's say office bearers, because then they would become an IMC, and this is not what we're about. We're not about creating an IMC that can go everywhere. We're looking to really harvest and help those individual consultants who need to be put in a virtual IMC until such time as their country builds their own IMC. The questions also arose, who should govern this body? And the logical progression for us was that the task force who built this process in consultation with CMC Canada will be appointed the interim board, along with a couple of representatives from XCOM to see things moving. We do see an open and transparent process of building a governance structure that the trustees have input into, something where there is elections and the like, but we do need to also make sure that these people have a strong history of being involved with XCOM, being involved with CMCs, and there's going to be quite a lot of prerequisite criteria for us to meet to make sure we get the right people involved in the Greenhouse IMC. Who does what in the relationship between CMC Canada and ICMCI in this was what's taken so long. There's a lot of detail to go over. and as you can imagine, CMC Canada is a very professional organisation, and they gave us a very professional contract for us to look through, and they've had to go through this exercise with many institute within their own country before, and we've had to learn about what are some of the issues that IMCs have to deal with versus what do we actually want to contract CMC Canada to do versus what is CMC Canada's separate role as their own organisation. And we've been very happy that we've been able to negotiate a great series of service level agreement, one that we believe will service the individual members of the Greenhouse IMC, but also one that will have a degree of flexibility and allow us to adjust and to make sure we get this right as time goes on. How will this impact on your IMC? Well, the key message is it will not compete with your IMC, so let's just say that from the get-go. The most important thing is that this is about growing the CMC community as a whole and about growing the access to management consultants around the world who want to be a part of the ICMCI community. So therefore we see it as actually something that will only strengthen the community, strengthen the profession and strengthen the body, and therefore create a greater sense of awareness and a greater sense of credibility for the profession globally as a whole. One of the great opportunities that your institute will have is the ability to actually provide training to the Greenhouse IMC members. And obviously there's contracts and there's commissions involved in that, but we'll talk you through that and give you more details about that as time goes on, so that you're aware of the process and you're aware of the know-how and you're aware of how to access this level of training. Where is the Greenhouse IMC right now? Well, we've taken a long time to get to this point, but we have negotiated a contract we're very happy with. The task force has been very active under Dwight Makovitz's leadership, and my role has simply been the conduit to XCOM, and it's been a very easy and pleasurable role for me. But what I've got to say is that the work behind the scenes has been tremendous. It's been not something that you'll see as evident, but in the next few weeks, once the final ink hits the agreement, the task force will be moving forward in developing marketing material, marketing collateral, the website. We're hoping to have a soft launch in Johannesburg and show you the outcomes, and of course we're then aiming for a full proper launch before the end of this calendar year. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me through Rima at ICMCI, and otherwise I look forward to seeing you in Johannesburg.